Hi friends, my name is Dawn Wages, and I am the Python community advocate here at Microsoft. Today, I'll show you some power user settings when enabling your Python linter in VS Code. The goal is for your developer experience to be intuitive, replicable, and shareable. This is part of a larger series about Python, hinting, and linting in VS Code. Let's get started. One of the most important parts of writing code is making sure your code is readable. There are so many positive downstream effects of clean code, from its ease to maintain and add features, debug subtle programming errors, or recognize uninitialized variables. Some people call this code hygiene, and today we're going to talk about smelly Python code and how linting in VS Code can help. This all ties back to PEP 8. PEP, stands for Python Enhancement Proposal. 8 denotes the number of the proposal, and all proposals are enumerated. 8 specifically goes into the opinions on what clean Python code looks like directly from the Python organization. Although there are many linters and formatters you can use, all roads lead back to PEP 8 and any particular enhancements on top of PEP 8 guidelines. Here's the agenda for the short video. We'll jump into how VS Code handles Python linters, then we'll get into a real demo. I'll show you how I enable PyLint for a real project, enable settings in 2 different ways from the settings panel and the settings.json file, and then I'll point you in the right direction on how to create your own Python-based language extension. Let's grok how VS Code does linting through their extensions. If you don't have a linter in your development requirements, there are lots of reasons for this. You can use the linter in VS Code exclusively in your development environment, and you do not need to install it for your virtual environment. The extension marketplace in VS Code is where you can expect to get the majority of your tooling for development. There are tons of extensions in the marketplace, so I recommend giving it a cursory look anytime you're tackling a new project or workflow. I'll actually share my screen in a few minutes to show you updating your settings.json, and we'll solve our first Python problem together. But a pro tip, if you're linting a project and your linter dependencies are in your requirements and you're using artifacts like .pylintrc, I recommend you add this line to your user settings. This way, when you install your requirements and select your Python interpreter in VS Code, it will enable the same version you have pinned, and it will use your pylintrc that the rest of your team is using as well. Today, we're not going to be talking much about virtual environments, but getting your head around virtual environments is a non-trivial task for Pythonistas. Essentially, each project should have its own virtual environment. So when you pip install -r requirements.txt or pip install the package name, the currently installed version is contained within that project. When you start your project, the first thing you'll likely do is activate your virtual environment. Note that I'm specifying on screen the requirements-dev file because you're not going to run a linter in production. This is particularly a development tool that you'll use locally between your team to make sure your code is formatted consistently and you're not proposing smelly code in your pull request. You can also do this through the command line palette by using Control-Shift-P or Command-Shift-P. It will open a drop-down menu from the top of your editor, and you can click which Python you'd like to use. If your virtual environment has already been created, select the one in the virtual environment path. Otherwise, you can use the Microsoft Store or Anaconda or other systems Pythons you may have that's specific to your project. Command-Shift-P is a really good command to remember. The command palette in VS Code will get you almost anywhere you need to go. There are many linter packages and many more not listed on this slide. At the time of this video, we have extensions supporting PyLint, Flake8, MyPy, and Rough. Rough is one of the community contributed extensions. If you'd like to see your favorite tools supported, use the Python-based extension template. The demo I'm going through is going to use PyLint, but we have lots of extensions that support code quality in Python and encourage the community to contribute and support language server extensions. Here's an example of enabling PyLint. At the top, Python linting enabled set to true is no longer needed with the new extension experience. Below that, we're setting the arguments for PyLint. Args are always lists in brackets. Here I'm supplying some arguments. Reply in the comments with what you think these feature flags are specifying. We're jumping into the code with this slide, but I'll show you how you can switch back and forth between settings.json and the settings panel in the demo. A little bit more code, you can see in this snippet, Flake8 and Rough are using the same pattern. These would not all be in the same file unless we had all these linters enabled. Bonus points if you can comment what these additional arguments are saying for Flake8 and Rough. So the last little bit before we jump in, here are some shortcuts in VS Code that I use in my demo that are fun and helpful to remember. It always feels like I'm gamifying my development experience by remembering the shortcuts that help me navigate faster. The Problems tab is directly with linting. You'll want to first have the focus on the file that you'd like the linter to run on, and then you'll use Control-Shift-M to open up the panel that will display any problems. Don't forget to sort your imports with Shift-Alt-O or Shift-Option-O. There's also a setting that you can enable called Lint on Save, which will check for linting errors every time your file saves. If you want to supercharge this experience, you can enable file.autosave so you can frequently lint and frequently save. If you want to go deeper into PyLint settings, you can visit aka.ms/linting-pylint. Now we're jumping into the demo. So I navigate to the extensions bar and search for PyLint. I'm enabling the release version today, but as a good steward of the community, I often like to enable the pre-release so I can get the latest features and report bugs if I come across them. As an employee of Microsoft, I file my bugs in the same place that the community does because we build out in the open. And that's it. First step is done. All right, so now we're going to solve our first linting error. I'm working on a Django Wagtail application, and I navigate back to my files, and I'm going to start with my views. When I open and type Control-Shift-M, the panel for all the problems open. I want to start with the easy ones, so I see that I have the wrong import order, which is fixed by using Shift-Alt-O. As I've foreshadowed, you can update your linter settings in multiple places. I'm going to show you how to do that next. So I see these docstring conventions, and I don't think I'm interested in letting them keep bugging me. So I'll open up the settings panel with Control, and then I type PyLint into the search bar. I click the checkbox to enable PyLint, and now I'm going to use the args bar to disable some of the arguments that are pesky to me. When I went back to my file, it auto-updated and removed that issue. Let's go back to the panel and do it in the workspace level, because before I did it in the user level. I removed C0114 from the user level and added C0114 and C0115 to the workspace level. So these are just two of the three errors that we saw before. And you can see here that it adds it to the settings.json. And now let's add C0116, the last of the three errors, and I can go back and it's all synced up. What I ended up doing was disabling it that only for me, which is the user's level settings, and then I updated it for my workplace level settings. It saves it to the file settings.json underneath the .vscode directory. And if I commit that directory, my teammates using VS Code will also have access to the same workplace settings. There are so many available settings that I prefer to type them into the search bar. On the left, there are commonly used categories, and I recommend just going through some of these settings and personalizing your environment. It's a really great step in becoming a power user in VS Code. Here's a cheat sheet for the linter arguments for the settings.json file. For arguments or custom path, they are attributes on the linter extension name, all lowercase. This was a very, very high-level introduction into linting in VS Code, which was by design. This is a primer. Comment below if you want me to go any deeper into particular extensions or particular workflows, or if you want me to set up a project, XYZ. I'm excited to hear from you and excited to continue this Hinting and Linting series. Now, if you're up to the task, I'll talk to you a little bit about how you can look into creating your own Python-based extension. I had an awesome time chatting with the Python and VS Code team on the Python Pulse live stream about this exact topic. We've created a template that keeps you writing in more Python rather than TypeScript to create your extensions. We had a great time, and if you'd like to check out the link, you can find it at aka.ms Python Pulse Create Your Own Extension separated by hyphens, which will take you to the Python Pulse starting at the time in the live stream where we discussed the template. You can also go straight to the docs at code.visualstudio.com/API/topics/Python-extension-template. This is the first video in the Python Hinting and Linting in VS Code series. We have some great content lined up for you, like sharing your development settings among your team, big or small, linters and black formatter, type hinting in Python, a dynamically typed language, and doing it in VS Code, and VS Code profiles, and more. Don't forget to join us at Discord at aka.ms/python-discord to talk all things snakes with us.